So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this new initiative of the Virtual Exchange Erasmus Project Impact in Collaboration of the Athena European University. We are very happy to open this initiative with a speaker from Ukraine. As you know, the Athena for Peace talks, their main aim is to provide the floor for scientists, students, to communicate with an international network of academics, university stakeholders, and other students in order to discuss with us and make us aware of the difficulties and the challenges they face under, the tough circumstances they experience. And the main purpose is to discuss afterwards, and as academia, as part of universities, to have some suggestions how we can help in order to resolve the situation, and what we should do as a joint activities in order to promote an education that will promote and will educate our young people towards peace and collaboration than conflicts. So we start the first couple of lectures of this initiative. They are devoted to the Ukrainian crisis. And we have some invited speakers, from academia, from Ukrainian universities, partners of Athena European University, but also partners of Impact Project. And then we are going to move to other areas of crisis like Middle East, Israel, Africa, Western Balkans, and Asia like Taiwan. And in order, to have a more spherical, awareness of what is happening around and how many things we can do more. I would like to welcome at this stage Professor Yuliana Lavrish, a professor at Sikorsky Kiev Polytechnic Institute, a full partner of Athena European University Alliance. Yuliana is the head of the Department of English for Engineering, and she will discuss with us challenges for her to teach and her students to learn under these difficult circumstances. I have to say that Yuliana was the first person that I listened, live in a conference that I attended in León, in Spain. And from this moment, I think that my mission as an academic somehow changed. Something new added to what I would like to do. So, Yuliana, the floor is yours, and thank you very much for your contribution to share with us your experiences and your ideas, how we should move on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's honor for me just to present here in such honorable and respectful audience today. And I hope that today our meeting is not that very complex for you, but just more inspiring and informative, because unfortunately we thought previously that peace is something very sustainable and stable phenomenon, but as we see, it is very fragile, and it's in our hand to do something. So Kostas, could you please allow me to share the screen? Yeah. Just a second. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, so I'm ready. So today we are going to speak with you about education, peace, frameworks, sustainability, and education is more about connection and understanding. It's not just about weapon, money, and so on. So just to create this atmosphere of understanding and connection, because when we know each other better, it's easier for us to understand, to promote cultural sensitivity as well. So first, I want to show you a short video about Ukraine And this is just 2 minutes video, but I hope that it will help us to create this atmosphere of peace and understanding. So please just tell me if everything is okay with the sound. Just a second.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So you see, we've got a lot in common, and exactly understanding that we have this connection and that we have these ties, they prevent us from some, cruel and unstoppable things. And the next point, which I want to start my today's topic, is that when I was searching how to start our today's presentation, I was searching for some idea from famous people who promoted peace, and there were a lot of different complex citations, quotations, ideas. But when I saw this one, and I just amazed how simple everything is in fact. And this simplicity, it's like something like that we have to regain and understand again, that to reach peace, we have to teach peace, not to promote war and not to justify some of these things, just to teach peace. In fact, it's not that complicated. Just we have to remind, we did it before. Just now, maybe we have new tools which will help us, AI, for example, and a lot of a lot of connection is possible today. And you know how amazing can be education for peace via today's technology, and it just easier. And when I was preparing for this presentation, I read a book, Survival of the Friendliest, and I just highly recommend you this scientific novel, I would say. It is written by cognitive neurologist Brian Hare and Vanessa Wood. And this book offers us a new way to look at our cultural and cognitive evolution. In fact, we are humans. We are the most communicative creatures in this world, and we are the friendliest creatures in the world. And this is our physiology. And this strategy of friendliness and partnership allowed us to survive, in fact. And if something is a background of our physiology, it means that we have it in our genes, we have it in our mind. So it is possible to educate. It's not something completely new for us. We know how to do it. We've done it before a lot of times. So we just have to, like, you know, to turn it on again, this our friendliness and collaborative things. But the tricky fact here is that we are very, very friendly to people who are in our group. This our feature of creation some social complex collaboration alliances groups also created some troubles, and we are absolutely friendly to people who are in our group. We know them, we share common values, we share common linguistic features, we understand each other better, we know traditions. But if some people from another group, for example, we think that they threaten our life, we might become absolutely monsters, and we can dehumanize ourselves, and we can create absolutely horrible thing. Even if we haven't seen that person from another group face to face, because maybe a leader of our group has told us something, or leaders of the group depict our enemies as cruel monsters, and they just exacerbate all those negative things that there might be. And in this case, it causes war, genocide, slavery. And it just because we don't know who are our counterparts. We've just heard about them from some people, but we've never communicated. We've never had a chance to discuss something. This book has a lot of critical moments. I'm not sure, and I can't say that I agree with all the conclusions and ideas from this book, but I want to say that the key message here is that when we connect this bridge between our groups, and when we connect this collaborative thinking skills, and when we try to develop cultural sensitivity, we give a chance for world to survive, and we have a chance just to overcome those barriers that we create by our hands, just because we don't know each other in a proper way. So here I just want you to think about our basic rule, about our physiology, that we are very, very friendly creatures. And let's start our today's talk from this key idea that in fact we were not created to harm. We were created to build peace. Unfortunately, we forget about this. And having analyzed some situation that we are now around us, and unfortunately we faced a lot of cruelty and atrocity in our today's life. Analyzing all these situations and events, I've just found out that there are some drivers that cause all this horrible thing in our world. They're not, it's not the full list. It's just my ideas, my insights, how I see what are the drivers that led us to this situation as we have today. So first of all, this is a cognitive overload. What I mean? I mean that we have to analyze a lot of information, and you know, our world is we are overwhelmed with a lot of information and this amount of information, and we just have no time, have no capacity, have no skills, critical thinking skills to analyze everything, and we tend to simplify information. When we tend to simplify information, it might cause truth decay when we just want to simplify and we don't want to think about some facts, and we just want to believe and take something for granted what other people tell to us. And you know, this truth decay is a very dangerous and unfortunately rather infectious disease that appeared lately. And you know, some psychologists, they performed experiments and surveys, and it is so interesting to find out that today in our world we just launch satellites and we want to occupy Mars as a planet, but on the other hand, there are some people who still believe that our Earth is flat. Sorry, because they have never seen other evidence. They don't believe, or some people just refuse to accept the fact that vaccination, for example, is useful and might prevent from some infectious disease, as it, for example, happened just some years ago. So cognitive overload and this tendency to simplify, not to think much about something, just to believe and take something for granted, causes truth decay. And where, from which places we can take, from which sources we can take this badly interpreted information? Unfortunately, from social networking platforms. And it would be very silly from my point to deny this increased influence of social networking platforms, especially as we see our teenagers and young generations, they're completely and totally are in these networking platforms, and they take their information from those platforms. And we know that that information is not always credible and the sources are not always reliable. And we have to teach students how to differentiate, how to find that truthful and credible information, how to make this difference between fact and fake. And when we are under this influence of social networking and someone's ideas, we are completely under propaganda and disinformation. And this propaganda, disinformation, they are just irrational interpretation of information in favor of someone's idea. And all these negative crisis drivers, unfortunately, they appear every day. And we are, as educators, we just observe them, but now it is time to do something and to eliminate these drivers, to prevent these drivers. Unfortunately, today, our educational system very slowly reflects and very slowly takes some actions, but we have no time anymore. And we have to take some steps urgently, just maybe today or tomorrow. And all these crisis drivers, they also create social polarization. And this also very dangerous situation when people artificially create those groups, which I told you about previously. When we create a lot of groups, then we have to create more bridges. So we just artificially make this process more and more complicated, instead of just unite and instead of just be together and create some cooperative things and collaborate, we just polarize and we separate from each other. So I think that all these drivers are absolutely possible to prevent and to react and to reflect on them. And it's in our power as educators to do it and just to discuss it in an honest and an open way, as we are doing it just right now. In the beginning of the war, when we resumed our teaching and learning process, it was just 3 months since February. Everything started in February, and in May we resumed our teaching and learning process. I am, as a head of the department, I understood that I have to communicate with students and teachers as well, because both sides are under stress and under trauma, and no one expected that it would be in such a scale. And the result of our conversation with teacher was the research that we presented and published in a scientific journal. And it is about those emotions and resilience and those strategies that help us to overcome those barriers that were created and to resume studying. And we couldn't let our students down when they appeared and when they saw us behind the screen. For them, it was like a flashback from the peaceful life. They understood that there is something stable in the world. If they saw a teacher in front of this in the screen, it seemed like everything will be okay and this war would finish soon. So we had to create this resilience source in ourselves, as well as support and help our students. And when I conducted that and created that survey, I just asked my teachers some of the questions, and results you can see here. So first, my question was, how has the war affected your personal activities? And first of all, you see the extent, to which extent there was that influence, negative influence. And the second pie chart demonstrates you what exactly activities were suspended. So we completely changed the way of teaching. We introduced a lot of things that we hadn't done before, for example, trauma-informative pedagogy. We had to think of teachers and students how to overcome those stressful and maybe sometimes psychological barriers that appeared. Also, we at that time we felt professional isolation, despite all that help and despite all that support that was just during those first days. We were like, we couldn't find that balance between our personal safety, our family safety, and the professional duties that we had to perform. And that created this, professional isolation, that we didn't know what to do and nobody could help us, in fact, because that was the first situation in 21st century and nobody knew what to do, what strategies to develop. And step by step, we just were trying, and we were studying, and we were learning what to do and how to react and how to educate our students. The next was, my question was, what has become your priority during the war? This question was very important and critical for me, because I wanted to understand that motivation and that background that gave our teachers those skills, and those not maybe skills, but resilient background to resume work and to be back in the classroom. So first of all, you can see that priority was survival and to stay safe, first of all. Then support students, colleagues, and others, because this mutual support was of great help to us, and it was like that mechanism that demonstrated us that together we can do everything. And we just joined in a big, great group, and we could demonstrate this friendship, collaboration, support, and mutual understanding and respect. The rest of the things are mental health, student skills, and the priority remained the same, just you see just 2%. And when I analyzed those results of that survey, there were very interesting insights that, in fact, the key points that helped us to resume studying and not to get crazy completely, they were students, our work, our belief in victory, that everything will be okay, colleagues, communication, of course, financial things, and when we discussed with teachers what gave them those wings and that hope to go on and to keep on working, they mentioned these things which you can, these features which you can see on the left hand of my screen. So first of all, optimism, self-belief, and maybe some kind of coping and self-regulation strategies, control of emotion, and control of that situation that might seem completely without a control. But if we create some rituals, if we create some coping and employ some coping coping strategies, we can create that resilient barrier, as well as willingness to work, willingness to be flexible, to help, to support, and to show the whole world that we can go on, and that we have that strength and resilience to keep on doing. Then in September, we completely resumed studying with all students, and even we decided to again to resume our international activities. From one side, it was like a crazy idea, and it was very difficult because all our students, as well as colleagues, they were all over the world. And some people told us that we had to think about only studying process, or only about some knowledge and skill that were factually important for students. However, our students, they stimulate us to resume this international activity because they wanted to find that platform for collaboration and for international cooperation and communication. They wanted to tell everybody in the world what was happening at that moment, how we survived, what might be done just for us to support and to help. And we understood that we have to suggest students this platform for collaboration and communication. And that is why we opened all our and started again working with our international partners, and we suggested that global communication for students. Due to this support, we could just differentiate our English classes, and some students could participate in international project, and some students could attend our English classes. But the key goal was just to develop their linguistic and language competence, as well as intercultural communication. And it worked at that moment due to all this meaningful learning that we suggested to our students due to internationalization and our international projects. For those students who worked in international projects, we allowed them working autonomously, and we empowered them and just delegate them some tasks of self-education and self-study, and we encouraged greater independence and empowered them with their sources, topics they want to discuss, products they want to create together with their international partners. And in fact, just in the beginning, we were a little bit afraid that that might not work, but our students did their best, and those projects, they were just they were amazing, and students created presentations, collaborative awareness campaign about a lot of topics: sustainability, peace education, educational problems of youth in Europe in general. So we just shared with students that responsibility for academic outcomes, and we created this atmosphere of educational trust, and it was a winning strategy at that moment. And also our international projects increased motivation for students to study, even when they in the beginning they came to classes with a question, why should we study? Because I don't know what would happen tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I will die or something like that. They just didn't see that goal of education, and sometimes they refused to visit classes. But when we suggested them a lot of options, and these international partners and students, they saw this support and they felt it. So we just witnessed that motivational boost from the students' side, and they tried very, very hard to participate in our virtual exchange projects, and as well as COIL projects. And we at that moment we saw that this collaboration and internalization, as well as connection that we just had developed together with our partners, this is about peace, and this is about something that is more important and more effective than truth decay, than propaganda, and something else that I've told you previously about crisis drivers. Yeah. So, however, we had to create some frameworks, and we had to employ some new tools which we've never done before. And I've developed the framework which gives us idea how to support teachers, and in which way it is better to manage educational project and educational process, and what skills and what knowledge teachers and educators require in crisis and in period of severe educational problems. So this is I called it RAFT, and you can see that this acronym stands for Resilience, Appreciation of Diversity, Facilitation, and Trauma-Informed Teaching. First of all, when we speak about resilience, I want to tell you that it's something like being in a plane. When you remember that when you're in a plane, you are told that first of all you have to put mask on yourself and then put mask on your child just to be resourceful. So that is what resilience in educational context about, being resourceful, just to make your plans, to find those resources. I'm speaking not only about technological and technology, about emotions, about mental support. So we have all the strategies and we are trying to implement them in our curricula. And it's also about peace, because when we control our emotion, when we have these resources to go on, to keep on teaching and working, students as well see this, and they continue developing those and building those bridges with their partners abroad, with students abroad. You know, resilience is that one of those keys that help us to build peace and collaboration. Also, appreciation for diversity. We have a lot of displaced and internally displaced students with very different cultural and academic background. And you know that diversity and inclusivity is not only about mental or physical diseases and disabilities. There are a lot of different signs that are under this umbrella term of diversity. And our today's classroom are very inclusive, and we employ universal design for learning strategy just to reflect and to accept all those things and all those contexts in which our students working today and studying today. Next is facilitation. It's about management of the educational process. It's not only about the source of information, which we just previously did. The teacher was just the source of information. Nowadays, students can find this information everywhere. It is more about support, about sharing responsibility for academic outcomes. It is more about trustworthiness, and about this peer attitude and partnership between teachers and students. And of course, we have to implement trauma-informed teaching strategies just to support our teachers and students as well. What are the university priorities during this crisis or severe circumstances? So first of all, university as an administrative organization, they have to think about people and about the sustainability of educational process. It was a quite challenge to preserve staff and students, because a lot of our students just moved abroad, as well as teachers, and it was a difficult problem to prevent this brain drain and to try to return those students and the teachers back. But developing all those strategies of support, resilience, and mutual respect, and this innovative international project, it was a successful strategy. And again, due to those international projects, we coped and we managed to return some of our colleagues back to university, and we allowed them the platform and possibilities to work and to combine their international collaborative partnership and project, and doing it together in Ukrainian universities and their abroad universities. Also, the next critical point, it was how to provide this optimization and decision-making process and networking inside the university. Also, it was critical to provide safe learning environment and physical and mental safe learning environment. And now when we have these air raids and air attacks, Our students are studying in shelters and as well as teachers, and we have even some underground schools in some cities. It is sad to speak about it, but it's our reality, and we have to continue. We have to provide this access to all people in Ukraine to education if we want to build sustainability and peaceful future for our country. Because education is about peace, and if students and children don't get access to education, we will just disappear. We had to adjust curriculum and the graduation process, as well as session exams as well, and all these things. We enhanced collaboration and cooperation. I've just explained you the importance and significance of these processes. Also, we just changed entrance campaign, and we had to think how to return our students from other countries and how to become more competitive even in these severe circumstances. Also, we've adjusted legal framework to work condition and to marital law that we are living now in. And our administration found solution and resources how to manage that financial, educational, and mental crisis that we were during the first days of war. And, speaking about education for peace, there are a lot of frameworks and a lot of studies which are devoted to this topic. And here I just want to share with you some framework, and it is about key peace education topics. I've told you that we had to think about our curricula and topics which we would like to introduce to our students. We had to introduce some amendments and changes. We had to eliminate some sensitive topics. We couldn't discuss with students such topics as homes and my favorite family holidays and my summer holidays. So we had to think about something more important and something more significant under these conditions. And our students, they are adults and they are our future, and they are those people who in future will build that peace and sustain that peace. So we have to be honest with them, and we have to discuss very adult topic to find those solutions that might help them in future. That is why we integrated in our curricula such maybe not popular but very important topic as human dignity, how to build tolerance, and how to develop those skills of mutual respect, how to promote non-violence, how to overcome conflict situations, how to cope with conflicts, how to cultivate inner peace and mental health. And in the beginning, it was very difficult. And we saw that students would they wouldn't accept these topics, and we thought that students might just refuse discuss it. But to our surprise, they were ready, and they just were. The students suggested us some more topics for discussion, and for them it was really important how to overcome those barriers, how to manage the crisis, the conflicts. They first of all we had to find out those reasons and causes that led us to the situation, and then find possible solution how to overcome it and how to prevent it in future. And this our discussion, they're very sincere and they're very open-minded, and we even introduced this discussion and this topic in our internalized and international project. And for example, with the students from Lyon University, we discussed topics about conflict transformations and how to prevent this violence and how to develop tolerance among young population and young generation, because there are a lot of challenges now. And we also thought that for Spanish students, maybe it is not that relevant and they were not ready to discuss it. However, they accepted these topics, and we had very interesting and very insightful discussions, and then so even solutions that also helped our students to understand and to reflect on everything that is happening just now in our country. Among other educational solutions that I think might prevent those crisis drivers and promote education for peace are media literacy. I've told you today about this truth decay, and that sometimes it's difficult to differentiate fact from fake. And these media literacy skills are critical for today's young generation, and they contribute to a huge extent to the education for peace. And when students know how to analyze, how to process information, how to differentiate all these things, in this process, on this way, they develop also critical thinking skills. And these two literacy, critical literacy and media literacy, they're interconnected and interrelated, and they should be included in our curricula, in every our activity. And you know, we can't forget about importance of this thinking process in general, just not to take something for granted. Think, and this is, it should be like the first step you do in the morning. You just wake up, you read something, and you think about it. Then, as a crisis driver, I told you about social networks and their influence of these platforms. And unfortunately, a huge amount of that information is not credible, is not reliable. But if we involve experts, influencers, and from educational institutions, from some collaborative enterprises, from science, even leaders from local communities, and if we just fill this space of false information with expert information, it would be a great contribution to the education for peace, because we have leaders, we have people who really know what to do. They have experience and they are ready to share this experience, but unfortunately they don't have a platform. And it is our also role as educators to find those people and to connect them with young generation. And I think that is our new roles as facilitators as well, as I mentioned in my framework, draft framework, that our role to facilitate not only educational process, but also this collaborative process. Internalization of education. You've heard today a lot, and I've mentioned it a lot of time, that due to internalization, we didn't lose our students. And due to internalization, we found those resources just to resume educational process and to find that those motivational and stimulational factors and aspects for our students. Inclusivity. It's very important today just not to exclude people from our community because we don't know how to react on their emotions. And we have to rethink about inclusivity in some more deeper context, including our traumatic experience of students and teachers. So now I think inclusivity has a new level, and we have to adopt those new inclusivity, inclusive strategies and adopt them to our new reality. Also, mobility, virtual exchanges, they are strategies that help us to build those bridges and just to support this fragile peace. And if we separate, if we just break those bridges, we will disappear from this planet, you know. So mobility and virtual exchanges, for those who cannot afford physical mobility, they are very critical and very important steps just to maintain that international balance. When we integrate into virtual exchange and international projects, we develop international competence and skills of international communication, and we just know each other better. We understand cultural differences, we accept this cultural, maybe some similarities and connection, and it is easier for us to understand and to accept people, maybe reaction. There are some rules. When we understand, there is a space for bridge, So first we have to understand, then we build bridge, and then we build peace. So this intercultural competence, social emotional learning, and skills of conflict resolutions, these are those pillars that help us to build and to develop the bridges, not walls, bridges. Another framework for education for peace tells us about those competences that should be developed at pedagogical university for pre-service teachers when teacher trainers educate future teachers and educators. So here you can see these competences like collaboration and teamwork, self-awareness, sensitivity to cultural, gender, religious differences, mediation and negotiation. It is significant, and it is, mediation is vital for us to overcome those conflicts and to find common even language strategies, communication strategies, to explain maybe in a simple way what is happening. But unfortunately, we think that mediation is only about the conflict management, but not. Mediation is really important, and we have to integrate it also in our curricula and curriculum for pre-service teachers. Critical thinking, as I've mentioned today, and nurturing common moral values: respect, empathy, responsibility, reconciliation, and forgiveness. Speaking about forgiveness, I'm impressed by that strategy that is developed in Japan, Pedagogy of Forgiveness. It's very interesting and very deep strategies. I just recommend you to read and to find out some more about this strategy. And just to approach into conclusion of my today's lecture and presentation, I just want to share with you some lessons of war. Unfortunately, war educated us as well, and these lessons of war help us to understand how we can find those solutions and what we should do in future to prevent these situations in future. So first, we have to understand as educator and see and to maybe to create this clear vision what country we want to restore, and this vision should be performed in collaboration with students, because they are our future generation who will restore our country and who will build those bridges with young generation from other countries. So when we have this clear vision, which word and which country with what kind of principles and moral values we want to build, in this case, we can develop and we can keep up with the sustainability and peace. We should enhance the significance of humanity, intercultural competence, intercultural communication and humanization. We have to rethink about core values, and we have to introduce some new things and new ideas that our students come up. And in this case, it's very important to be honest with students. And if we just don't know answers, be honest and just try to find those answers with students together. We have to, as teachers, develop crisis-sensitive and more flexible curriculum. We have to adopt a lot of new strategies, and when we have our classes, we also think about some backup plan, because unfortunately, a lot of unforeseen circumstances happening right now. Also, critical thinking skills development, as well as media literacy, should be integrated in our curriculum. Speaking about this clear vision, we have to complete de-Sovietization and promote to European integration. It's just speaking about our country, as well as enhance internalization and collaborative project, because this is a background for peace, understanding, and collaborative projects in future, and sustainability in future as well. Of course, we have to rethink how to conduct research and what will be the topics of our researches and how to what is the applicability and what are the relevance of those researches that we are planning to perform and to conduct together with our students and with our international partners. So that's it today, and these are my insights how to sustain and how to support that peace that we have today. And maybe I haven't provided you with all those answers maybe to your questions that you have. However, I think that some ideas and some insights from my personal experience might be helpful to you. And together, if we continue discussion, continue our collaborative projects, we will find that framework and those paths that will lead us to fruitful, peaceful, and sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julia, for this very nice and inspired, according to me, presentation. Please stop sharing your screen.
Yeah.
We have, let's say, 10 minutes before we jump to the next lecture that we have not on, within the framework of our impact project, but there is time for, I would say, for a couple of questions and discussion. So the floor is yours. First to Professor Nava Sheikh, that I can see she raised her hand. The floor is yours, Nava.
I have two questions for you. First of all, I want to thank you for sharing. It's not easy to share some situations, so thank you for sharing. Did you have students that were in the army, and what did you do with them during this period? This is my first question, and my second question is a little bit sensitive, but I will ask it anyway. Did you have any cases that partners stopped working with you because of the situation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your questions. So speaking about first question, yeah, a lot of our students joined army, and they are in service, in military service, not only students, but teachers and our colleagues as well. We just sometimes when they have some short rest, they can continue study. It's absolutely up to them. They can take academic leave, or they can continue, and we just provide for them all possible resources, and we support them and in any their decision. And for us, it is more difficult to communicate and to work with those students who lost some part of their families, and when they return to classes and they share with us all those emotions of griefs and loss, it's very difficult to become resilient, and it's very difficult to sustain that safe learning environment that we have to build in our classrooms. And we have to think about these strategies and these trauma-informative cases, and unfortunately, we still don't know what to do in some cases, and we are feeling lack exactly of this information and these skills. I hope this is the answer to your first question. And the second question is about partners. No, there were no rejection. And, you know, we had during the 22nd year, I mean, the beginning of the war, I personally had 4 international conferences and forums with a lot of people from different countries. And today here is present a professor from Japan. He helped us to organize Asian Forum for Peace, and there were a lot of people from South Korea, Taiwan, and the Asian countries, as well as from Europe, Canada, Brazil. And I think that it was just maybe due to shock, first of all, that the situation could happen in 21st century. And the second point is that we were absolutely, we didn't demonstrate any type of aggression. It is our country, it is our land, and these are our people who we want to protect. And it has been for the last a lot of centuries. And the truth is on our side and our part. And maybe due to this, our partners supported us from all points, and I'm very grateful for those support and those conferences and letters. It's just, they will be with me forever.
Thank you, Nava, for the question, and Yuliana for the response. I would like to give the floor to Corina Utu. Corina, please introduce yourself as well.
Hi everyone, I'm from Republic of Moldova, Technical University of Moldova. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Professor Lavrish for the wonderful presentation, very interesting. I definitely agree with that. I'm responsible actually for the internationalization at our faculty, and I agree that sometimes mobility helps to keep the students in country, because they can make a comparison thanks to these mobilities, and to see that sometimes at home it's better than in a strange country with a strange language, strange people, and actually not strange, but new people, new languages and new conditions, and they come sometimes so stressful that it's not like home. It's not with mother and with father close, that it's always helping them. So some students during the internationalization feel that at home is better. Sometimes they keep they staying, but the problem with leaving the country, it's a problem, I think, in Ukraine as well. And I have a question: how you trying to, and how you actually solve this problem to keep the students at home? Because we have the problem, they are living in Romania, in our case, because it's the same language, and it's quite easy to go in Romania and make the study there, and each year we have so less and less students. And so how you are fighting with this problem? How you trying to keep the students at home? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We also have had and have this challenge of brain drain, and students leave Ukraine, and we are trying just to be very competitive. I mean, we are trying to suggest double diplomas when we collaborate with our partners. And in Ukraine, we suggest them some double specialism, so they can graduate from Ukrainian university and at the same time graduate from some university from other country. For example, we have such agreement with universities from France, from Germany, and it helps our students to get diploma from both countries, but they stay at home. During these 2 years, our male students, they are restricted from leaving the country, so only girls have this privilege of moving. It's due to our marital laws that we are living now in. And previously, we suggested this virtual exchanges like a pre-step for physical mobility for those who are afraid of something. And we were open to our partners, and we demonstrated that our partners and students abroad, they have the same problems. And don't think that, for example, education is in Ukraine is of that poor level because you think that, for example, in some other country it is better or something like that. Just compare. All students have the same problems. They have the same strict students. Another question is about the salaries as a future. I mean, when you want to work, it's up to you to choose where you want to work and continue your career. But studying is absolutely okay here. And due to these international projects, students see that, in fact, the youth problems are the same. And it doesn't mean that if you just move to another country, you will escape from the same problem of lack of money or something like that. It's just illusion. And we were trying to break this illusion. That's it, I think.
Sorry, I think it's not the problem with the education, it's the problem with the economical situation in the country. They are looking for a better economical situation, country with a better economical situation. And sometimes the mobility helps to see that it's everywhere are problems, not only in our country. So sometimes they are feeling this. Thank you.
Yeah, you have to choose for yourself. And we suggest students the choice. And we delegate them this responsibility, and we share the responsibility of the academic outcomes. Of course, it is difficult, and it is a sensitive question, and it's difficult to compete with countries with a higher and better economical situation, but we are trying, and international project really of great help here.
Thank you very much, Corina. Probably, Corina, we should invite you in this series of lectures to describe us the situation in Moldova. So please contact me. I will be very happy to include you. And then for the last question, I would like to provide the floor to my friend Braha in order, to make the last question. Unfortunately, I have to jump to another course that we have. And I would like also Yuliana to share this course with your students. It's a virtual exchange course about soft and research skills. And we discuss this. I will share the information with all of you later on. Braha, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Yuliana, for your very extensive description of what you have been through and how you overcame it. I just wanted to make a remark, not so much a question, because I had the pleasure of working with colleagues from Ukraine prior to the war on a project, a capacity building project. And actually, I was very impressed with the way you went about things, because very soon after the war began, we started receiving messages from our colleagues inviting us to take part in various activities. And I was amazed with the way that you overcame this situation, because there were even people from Zaporizhia, which was, we all heard of what was going on over there. And I couldn't understand how they managed to continue this activities with all that was going on at the time. So I really wanted to salute you, actually, for the way that you showed this resilience and managed to overcome this amazing, really unbelievable situation that you have been and you are still experiencing. And that was my main input.
Thank you for your comment. And I have to just answer that this is a magic of our profession, in fact, that we are cooperate and that we have students and they are our source of resilience. And this work and maybe our passion to educate, to communicate, to collaborate, we just couldn't let our students down when they entered our online classes from roofs of their houses, from trees, just because they wanted to catch that wave and that connection. So it was for us really difficult, but it's our profession, it's our duty. If you're an educator, if you're a teacher, you just have to do it. Just don't forget about it. So I really appreciate your attention and your sincere support. And I think that together, only together, when we understand each other, when we are not hiding, and when we just remember that behind every screen, there is a possibility to find peaceful solution and some interesting ideas. Why should we separate? I just don't get it, how it is possible in 21st century with all this connecting technology separate. For me, it's unbelievable, and it's beyond my understanding it all. So let's build those bridges. Let's stop building walls.
Thank you very much, Yuliana. I should give the floor now to Alexandra, but this is the last one because my students are waiting in another link. Alexandra.
Hello, thank you very much, Yuliana, for this wonderful enlightening presentation. And really, you are so right that we need to remind ourselves that meeting and every situation with open eyes. And I really remember the first group of Ukrainian students who came just practically immediately after the start of the war to our university, and we were just asking what kind of help do they need, and we thought they would need psychological help, and it wasn't. They wanted to understand the way they could support financially their families. So they wanted to know the ways how they could get employed and just earn some money. So it's totally, we cannot have any some initial thoughts, ideas. We have to just to listen, to ask, and really to respond in a way the most possible how we could collaborate together. And also while listening, also thought that there's a science of war, but we really need to learn the science of peace. So the focus, just the starting point, should be not to how to defend and think about the threats, but also to think about all the means that support the peace. So this is the starting point. Really, thank you very much for your presentation.
Yeah, we just took it for granted that peace is something that we inherited, but not, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, peace is not for granted. In order to close, I would like to thank all of you. Alexandra is a colleague from Vilnius Tech in Lithuania. If you don't know, just to I will keep, what did you say? First, we build bridge and then peace. And this is a very strong message, because people, when they stop to collaborate, they don't come to speak and then at least agree on what we disagree. They just isolate, and this you will never build peace. So, I mean, I will keep this. First, we build bridge and then peace. And I would like to not ask, but, I still remember, Yuliana, as you end the talk in Leon, that you said that time, you said that we will never forget. I still remember this. And then today you came with an excellent idea, and I would like to invite this Japanese professor to this series of lectures to speak to us about the pedagogy for forgiveness. So you mentioned something completely different today than before, I think 2 months that we met in Leon. So I don't want to comment it. I would like to get focused on this pedagogy for forgiveness. And I think this is the key on what Alexandra has mentioned. Science is not only technology, but it's culture. And I think that science for peace probably can start from this pedagogy for forgiveness in order to build bridges, in order to build peace. So I would like to stop here. Yuliana, I would like to thank you. Next week, let me introduce the next speaker that is also an Ukrainian citizen. Is like Katerina Boychenko, that is going to speak about business academia resilience to tackle the Ukrainian war. This talk will happen on the 23rd of May at the same time, 15:00 CET. So until that time, I would like to thank you, Yuliana. Excellent to the participants for the very excellent questions. I'm sorry. Now it's the time for the students to join, and thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.